In this video, we're going to look at swatches and pantones and separations. So it's something no one really teaches in university, which is a shame, I think. But it's something that we use a lot at IG, and it's quite an important skill to have. So in Illustrator, it's much easier to get a pantone or a swatch. The difference between a pantone and a swatch is very minimal. A swatch is something you make, but a pantone is something that everyone has agreed upon. Pantone is a company that have created a set of colors, and so if we have a Pantone 186, which is a red, everyone has the same swatch, so it's made up of the same makeup. They're also usually much brighter colors. Swatches are made up of CMYK usually, and it's much harder to get those extra bright colors like you can with a Pantone. So if we check our separations over here, so at the moment I've only got my separations preview and my swatches open right now just to keep it focused just on these things. You can see we've got swatches panel and a separations panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose, let's choose a nice dark purple. So we've got a purple here, and we want to know what colors this purple is made of. If you click overprint preview, this kind of overprint preview and checking your separations will come in much more handy when you're doing Roland files. So while this might seem a bit abstract to you right now, it will really come in handy when you're doing Rolands or printing things onto foil. So if you click on your overprint preview, it brings a new, opens up these settings here, so you can actually see if there's any black, any yellow, any magenta, or any cyan in this blue. In this purple. So if we wanted, so say we were only allowed 3 colors in this, you could remove the yellow. Let's up the black a little bit. And with this purple now, if we turn these off, there is no yellow. So you can see there's nothing on the screen. There is no yellow. We've removed the yellow. So there's a quick way of seeing. It's a quick way of seeing what colours are actually in there. It doesn't give you percentages, which I think is a bit of a shame, but I'm not quite sure how they would do that. But or the other way of checking is just clicking on the colour itself, doing it and having a look in your CMYK panel here. But if you've got loads and loads of different colours from artwork, and you needed to see that you needed to remove all the yellow from all these different characters that you had on here, you could just turn off the cyan, magenta and black, and you'd be able to see if there was any yellow in your art file. So a quick way to make a swatch is, let's say we want to make this into a spot purple. So you've got your swatches. So if you don't have this up, just go Windows, Swatches, there it is. You should click this little button here, new swatch, click, spot purple. So you name it spot purple, make the color type spot color, and then you select the CMYK values you want, and then don't untick that because you don't need it in your libraries, and then click OK. And now we have a spot purple, so you can see it's turned up in your overprint preview here, in your separations preview. So now, if we click on this, and make sure it's a spot purple, when we turn our CMYK off, the purple is still there because it's made out of this spot purple. So it's not made out of the CMYK anymore, it's made out of only this purple. So if you have a artwork that is Santa heads with a red background and you need to separate out the red background, you can make that red background into a spot color, and then it's the CMYK could be made out of the Santa heads, and then you can have the red separate. So if the customers decided they want a Pantone color and they have a specific one in mind, you go into your swatches and then you click on the little top right hand menu up here, open swatch library, and go into color books. So this is where all your Pantone books will be. I'm doing this at home, so you'll probably have a few more in the studio. You should have a version 2 and a version 3, depending on when you're watching this. Maybe there's a version 17 by now, I don't know. So your usual ones will be your solid coated, so you print solid coated Pantones onto the uncoated paper, and the solid uncoated Pantones onto the uncoated paper, or they come up as on the EFI you've got coated paper comes up as 9900 and uncoated paper comes up as 7900 on the EFI if you're looking for it. So you click on solid coated and it will give you a list of all the coated Pantones here. So there's a whole bunch of them, and if you want to sort by name, you just go list view. So if you're looking for a specific one, so let's say we were talking about that red earlier, 186, you just type in 186 up there, click on that, and it turns up in your swatches folder. If you have a look in your separations preview, it's there as well. So this is quite good as well, because if you have a look in your separations preview, you see the purple is gone now because that color is not being used. So even though the purple's in your swatches folder, it's not actually being used in the artwork at all. So any spot or Pantone that you've put in your swatches folder but aren't using in your artwork won't appear in here. But if you're not using CMYK, they will still stay there. So if you ever want to, so say you've chosen hundreds of different Pantones and you had a bit of a time choosing which color background you wanted, if you've got a whole bunch there that you're not using anymore, you just right click, select all unused, it highlights them in white, and then you can just delete that. So if we make that Pantone 186, we'll make this a bit smaller, we'll copy that one over, I'll make that one, just make this one out of CMYK, so you can see when we turn this off, that one's just being affected. So you can see that one, we know this square here is made out of CMYK, and this one is made out of Spot. One other thing to mention when you're doing your separations is make sure, if you've got, obviously there's very, very little black in this, so it is very light. So if you made this color and it had 1% black in it, the 1% black in production wouldn't appear anyway, but if you really needed to make sure, just really be careful that you are seeing it all. So there you have it. So that's how you make a spot. That's the difference between swatches and Pantones. So you get your Pantones from your color books over here, and how to check to see what in your work is a CMYK, what is a spot or a Pantone, and how to check your separations.